Hello, welcome to our fifth grade prep party. I'm Shannon Dadles and just wanted to give you a few tips to start off your year. All right, and so we're going to talk about some of the major things that need preparation and just give you a few ideas for what you could get started. But the first thing I want to talk about is the elephant in the room. Ah, yes. And that elephant most likely is sitting currently in your room, and it might look like this. So all of these 6 boxes, when they probably went and brought these in, you probably went, that's a lot of beep boxes, right? So we want to really dig into some of these boxes before we start prepping. All right, so just wanted to welcome you and give you a few tips as we're looking at these boxes so that we can really get going. Hi, how are you? Welcome. Just want to let you know we are recording this for other folks as well. So right now, let's take a look at these boxes. A couple things I want to point out is that these boxes all contain a barcode on them. Some of them are on the top, some of them are on the front. And so they're checked out to you the same way that your TEs would be checked out to you or any of your other equipment. So that means that this is your whole set. All right, you don't have to share it with anybody. You don't have to rotate it or anything like that. And this set needs to stay with you. Please do not unpack the boxes and put them in other containers. Why not? Well, it has a wonderful list of everything that you need in these boxes. And so you're going to use that list, but also more importantly, your students and helpers can use that list to take things out or to put things away and make your life easier. So I know you've got the barcodes on there, but for me, I want to make sure that it's really clear which ones are mine. And so I'm going to put my name on every single one of these boxes. I'm going to put a little Post-it note on there with my name, put a little packing tape on top of there so that my name is on all of my boxes. One of the reasons I want to do this is because, quite honestly, I don't necessarily have to have these boxes right here on this table all year. So if you take a look, it'll say box 1 of 2. Box 1 of 6, box 2 of 6, box 3 of 6, and so on and so forth. But if we look a little bit closer, we can see that, some of these boxes say diversity of life. If you remember from your training, we are doing a slow phase in of science. And so we're not teaching diversity of life right now this year. I'm going to take this box and put it somewhere and save it for next year. Put that in a safe spot. Okay. All right. Okay. And if there's another one that says diversity of life, okay, I don't have my whole set here, so you'll have to take a look at yours. Then yeah, it says diversity of life. I make sure my name is on it. I make sure everything's in it. And I'm going to put that in a safe spot till next year. Looking better already. Okay. Then I've got boxes that are going to say Earth and Sun, and then boxes that say mixtures and solutions. We're going to take mixtures and solutions, and we're going to be teaching that after the holidays. So I don't need to have that one sitting in here either right now. Put that one someplace where I can find it. All right. Oh, that's looking better already, don't you think? Okay. So now let's see. We've got probably 2 or 3 boxes left at this point. One of your boxes, box 1, is going to contain your paper materials and things that are common to all 3 of the modules. Even though we're only teaching 2 this year, you're going to use things out of your box 1 all the time. So we want that one available. Okay. We also have box 6, and box 6 is full of your consumables. These are the things that you're going to be using up. Most of these things are probably going to get used up in mixtures and solutions. So go ahead and use up that baking soda, use up the salt, use up the citrus acid, because there's 3 years worth of stuff in here. And when you're done, we're going to send you a new box, and you're going to open that consumables drawer, and you're going to put everything into your consumables drawer. So nice to be able to pull those out. And so you go ahead and you use up all of your consumables. We're going to replace it in 3 years. If you need anything before that, just let us know. All right. So before we dig into some prepping, let's sit down and take a look at our investigation guide real quick. So this is Earth and Sun. It's called an investigation guide because you're guiding students through these investigations and experiments. It's not a TE because you're not doing a whole lot of direct teaching on this. You might want to grab a Post-it note and a pencil for this next part. Okay. All these tabs are going to help guide you. If you look in your materials tab, it's going to tell you what has been provided in your drawers. There's different ways to buy the drawers. So the drawer numbers they're not going to match our kit. The way that you can buy this is you can buy one module, but then that nearly triples the number of drawers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have all of this equipment before I start, and I want to make sure none of it's lost or none of it's broken. So I like to Xerox this page, cut a strip out, hand it to a student and say, count them, and make sure they're not broken. If you do come across something that's missing or something that's broken, reach out to your librarian, your LMA. They'll take care of it by contacting the warehouse and getting that. But also reach out to us, and that way we can get you whatever you might need immediately. Okay? So that's your materials drawer for what's in there. Like I said, your students can definitely help you with that. My own biological children inventoried for years. And then there's also equipment that is going to be supplied by the school. Now, I've been highlighting mine because like one of the things is like, oh, I don't know if I have this. One of the things that we're going to need in investigation 1 is we're going to need a fork. So I know I have a plastic fork, but you're going to want to grab a metal one somewhere because we're going to use it as a tool, okay? And you're going to use it. You're not necessarily going to have one of these for every kid. You just need one, all right? And so that says everything that we're going to need here: scissors, drawing paper, just the usual stuff. So we always want to check in our modules what we might need to get, okay? The next thing we're going to see is that page 25 has stuff for one-time preparation. And so one of the things you're going to want to do is to take out your thermometers, grab a Sharpie, and number each thermometers. You'll have 2 with the number 1 on it. You'll take out another pair of thermometers. That is set 2 and 2. And then you'll have set 3 and 3. You're going to be pairing up students, and you're going to want to say, you know, group 1 through 5 come up. And that way, when they get their thermometers, they know, oh, this one belongs to pair 1. This one belongs to pair 2. And so each kid's going to get a thermometer, and their number will match their partner's number. Okay. So that one, we're not going to spend a lot of time prepping right now. I'm going to take a look at our preparation page. All right. And one of the things that we want to do immediately when we start is you may have already been assigning classroom jobs. You're going to need some scientists in your room to do some lab study, some lab work, because everything that comes in your kit is meant to be reused, including the plastic cups, including the straws. And so we're going to need to have one group of students, not one person, but one group, maybe it rotates, to clean this stuff up. And so most of it just requires a quick rinse. There's no scrubbing or anything like that. And it just makes sure that everything gets rinsed and then dried. And then, as we said before, it goes back in the drawer according to what the label says, right? So let's dig in a little bit more. I'm now going to go to the tab that says Investigation 1. When I look there, it's telling me about the storyline. There's usually a video for the storyline. It's on Think Link. If you look under Investigation 1 and pull down the caret, at the bottom, you'll see the anchor video if there is one. I might not know a whole lot about the Earth's atmosphere, so I might want to read about that a bit. This is planning. This is what we used to help put together a suggested pacing guide. We've got some background for you, just 2 short pages, not a textbook. And Investigation 1 usually has 2 or 3 parts in the investigations. It has a materials page, for part 1. And it's going to tell me everything that needs to be pulled out of the kit. Almost everything in your kit is grab and go. You grab it, you set it up in the science center, and it's ready to go. If you want students to pick up, say, one single tube, I like to put a little Post-it note next to that tube that says 1. Makes it easy for the kids to know how much they're picking up when they go up there. So I don't get, Mrs. Dadless, how many am I supposed to get? This will also show you the copies that you need. The copies are being made for you by publications and should be arriving at your site. They will arrive in a grade level box. Otherwise, I can't divide it up by teacher or have to come here to me and I have to separate it all out for all 800 teachers. So we want to make sure that you get your grade level box, take what you need and an extra copy for yourself. So I've included that in the count and you'll be good to go. Everyone also has, every part will have a getting ready part. And so you're going to read what you need to do. All right. Oh, okay. Well, I need to take a look at this video. I need to get the anchor phenomenon video. I need to make sure I have this notebook sheet. And they're going to take the survey, the pre-test that first time. Oh, okay. Now I've got some details for what I need to do with the materials. So this is where I'm going to telling you to get your word wall set up. Okay. So I've got my word wall set up here. These cards were given to you at professional development. If you haven't had a chance to go, no worries. We're having publications send you an extra set to tide you over until you can get to your professional development session for day 1. Okay. Then we're looking here with the syringe and the plastic tube. So we're going to need to play around with those a little bit and get those ready. All right. So what I'm going to do is get that out and looking at that materials page, back one, and it says for each student, I need to get a syringe and a flexible tube. Okay. So I'm going to go over to my drawer. And for those of you that have had your kits arrive, you might want to tell me what drawer it is because my kit is not here yet. It's still on its way up last in the line. I'm going to get syringes and I'm going to get the plastic tubing. What's nice is you'll see that everything's labeled. So when you're looking for it, if you look at the labels, you'll know if you have what you need. Okay. I'm going to get this plastic tube. I need 1 for each student, it says on my materials page. This materials page is on ThinkLink if you don't have your teacher's editions yet, though hopefully they should be there, I would hope. All right, if not, they're on their way. So here is our syringe, and we're just going to use this for air. So we want to play with it a little bit because kind of get used to how that works. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to go ahead and pre-attach it. So I'm going to take that tubing and I'm just going to push it on there as far as I can. Okay. And so I will have these just set up, 1 for each kid. Okay. Then looking at my materials list, I also need a binder clip. Go back and get that out of my drawer. And we're just practicing with this for the time being. When the students come by, you can have set up in your materials center, pick up 1 syringe for each person, pick up 1 binder clip for each person. And that way, as your getter comes, they know what to get. But we just want to play with this a little bit for us for today for just a second here. So let's have your syringe be about halfway full right now. We're going to bend it over and crimp it. We're going to clamp that crimp on there. So that way it's nice and shut. And now go ahead and give it a push. Nothing coming out. Okay, how about a pull? Nope, no pull. How about a push? No, you can't push. All right, so students are going to experiment with like that, with this clip, and then they will work with their partner to discover what is in that syringe. Is it really empty? Is that what's really going on? and the kids have a lot of fun with this part, so give them time to play. All right, so as we have two syringes, they will be connecting together, and as they push one, the other one is going to fill. If they push both at the same time, nothing will happen. And so they're going to have fun playing around with that. Now, the hard part is this part. Put it back in the center. That's great. Take it apart. That's tough. That's why you need a real fork. And so what they suggest is you put the tines over the middle. It's not really going to work with the plastic one, and then you're going to use this as your lever, and it will pull that piece right off of there. Really, it will. I just don't have a real fork right now with me. Okay. All right, so we're going to set up 34, 36 of those, whatever you might need. You can put them back in the drawer where you've got the syringes, so they're all ready and they're not taking up any space. That can work. Okay. And then those will all be set. Okay. Next thing I want to point out is that as you are working, you're going to see these nice pale boxes. So here's some of our vocabulary we're going to be working on. Remember, we don't pre-teach vocabulary in science. Most of our vocabulary are concepts. They're not objects. So, if I wanted to teach, this is a syringe, that can be on my materials card, so that way they know what they're picking up. But a syringe I can hold, right? It's a thing. But things that are objects, things that are not objects, that are ideas or concepts, are much harder. And so things like atmosphere, that's a concept, that's an idea, really. It is a thing that exists, but you can't really touch it. So there has to be ways for kids to experience it. And as they are experiencing it, we're going to feed them that vocabulary. We're going to use words like compress instead of just push. Oh, so when you compressed the tube, what happened? And we'll be using that vocabulary. The other thing is, you notice that there are sentence frames down there for you for those collaborative conversations, part of our big 3 requirements that we are really focusing on these days. And just want to show you a little bit of those. One of the sentence strips could be very basic for conversation. When I compressed the plunger, then it didn't move. The air stayed in there. But some of our students need more support than that. So there might be multiple sentence strips that help give them more details for that academic vocabulary and that complete sentence structure they might like. Because remember, NGSS is designed with literacy in mind. Your RI standards are part of our science. Okay. Return to our materials now. Back in our TE. I have to go all the way into investigation 3 for our next major setup. Everything else is pull it out of the drawers and go. Okay, you have very few things to do here. And so that one is, when I go to investigation 3, here's part 2. Every part is going to have a getting ready or a materials section. So part 1 didn't have anything I needed to prep way far in advance. Part 2, I have some materials I'm going to need to grab. I'm going to need a globe, straw. I'm going to pull the lamp out of there, the 60-watt incandescent bulb. Remember, it's not an LED. It is going to get warm. It's supposed to be the sun, so it needs to get warm. We'll have these self-stick notes. They'll be in box 6. They're consumables. Use them up. Okay. Get the tape out of there, the Ziploc bag, all that good stuff. All right. So we're going to get those globes out and some straws. Okay. I do want to sing He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, but it'll be stuck in my head. So here's our globe. And we're going to take this little plastic bit off. I can just use my nails. Oops, pops right off, right? That one off the top, and I'm going to take it off the bottom. This is why you need to kind of prepare it in advance. You don't want these littered all over your floor. But, maybe that group of science helpers that are always asking, hey, do you have anything for me to do at recess? The answer is yes. Take these little white tabs off and throw them away. All right, so now we have our globe. We will never have to take those off again for 7 years. We want our globes to have an axis. So I'm going to take out a jumbo straw, which is probably slightly different colored. That's okay. And we just have to make sure that these are already fed through the center of the earth and out through the North Pole. Okay. And we've got them set up on the globe. Okay. And in those details, it just says that, we want to make sure that, if it's loose, we are going to need to put a little bit of tape on each end. So we want that tape to hold that axis there. We don't want it spinning. Okay. If it spins, we want to be using the axis with our fingers to turn and spin. Okay. So you want a little bit of that tape to set up the globes. Now, to set these up, pardon me, you have one for each group. Most likely you've got about 8 or 9 groups. So you set up 8 or 9 of these, never have to do it again for 7 years. Okay? And then those can go back in the drawer you got them from. I recommend you write down the number of the drawer in your investigation guide so that it's very clear for you. The next year, you're like, oh, where did I get this? And it also is very clear for you to direct students. You could sit there and say, hey, group 2, can you go over to drawer number 5 and pull those out for me? Okay. So those are all of the things that are in your TE that need to be pre-prepped. All of your other things are just going to be in there for you to pull out. We recommend you set up a material center. Doesn't have to be big. It can just be a small part of your desk. Okay. And we recommend that you identify each table group has a getter using those conversation mats. I prefer having the kids come through one-way traffic, going in a clockwise order so they're not bumping into their partners. If your kits have not arrived, they are on their way with their drawers. Until then, you can definitely still use your Think link, or you can wait until it arrives. That's perfectly fine. You will be getting the copies also. Those should be arriving from publications shortly. If you have not yet come to our professional development, we have some at the end of this month, and then only a couple sessions for 5th grade in September. You're going to need to sign up for that because right after that, we will roll out day 2. There will be 3 days of training over the year in which we're taking you through modules, but also getting deeper into what it's like to teach science. Okay. One other thing about your materials, and that would be, I highly recommend you pair up with a primary teacher and allow your students to not only be book buddies, but also science buddies. That way they can come in and also help pull things out of drawers, help put things away, or just kind of be there as a guide on the side for some of the students while they're working on certain things. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pause this. One last thing would be that if you haven't been there already, oh, there's a reflection. Let me take this a little closer. We have our bit.ly for our essential standards. We also have linked on there a suggested pacing guide. Remember, we're only doing 2 modules, so it kind of gives you an idea of how to flow for the year. Just gives you a little scaffolding if you'd like it. And so that's on that bit.ly/RUSD capital E standards, and you'll find all those linked. To access anything for your FOSS curriculum, you'll be at ThinkLink. It's thinklinkschoolspecialty.com. You can access this through Clever now that you have all of your students all enrolled. I'm going to pause the recording so we can just kind of answer questions in private that don't have to be part of the recording that we'll be sharing out. So let me go ahead and pause that.